you can see with that warning. The observed portion of it, now they're going to radar indicator. This is also significant off to the west. This is the flash flood warning that's in place for portions of Ripley and Dearborn County, and a little sliver there, northern Ohio County. That runs through 3:15 this morning. If you're in a low-lying area, some areas here in Ripley and Dearborn County have seen almost 3 inches of rain in the last hour and a half, 2 hours or so. With that said, they have a gauge indicating that flash flooding is occurring in some portions there of either Ripley or Dearborn County may be flooded. So take that very seriously. If you're in a flood-prone spot, try getting to higher ground right now. I know that's obviously not ideal. It's 12:37 in the morning, but you don't want to get stuck in that flash flooding. And with that all said, we have one more tornado warning there that's just off to the west of the area that would be pushing into western Ripley County. So with that said, I know it's kind of put you between a rock and a hard place of what to do there. You don't want to be in the basement while there's flooding going on, but then you also have a tornado warning coming in. So at that point, you again have a tough decision to make there. If you're obviously not seeing flooding right now, the basement's the best spot to be. If you are seeing flooding, you're going to have to try to get out of that situation.
Along that same line, again, that's called training, and anytime we see that, that just means a significant amount of rain, hence the flash flood warnings, and now we have to be worried about other warnings that are considered out there. All right, I have zoomed out for just a moment. I don't want our eastern counties to think that we're not watching. We definitely are aware that there is some pretty heavy rain going on out there, but we'll continue to focus on our western counties because we are watching these severe weather cells moving in and strengthening. So we're going to continue to watch the flooding in Ripley County and the next cells coming in, which at this point do have severe potential. Our main concern studio, lots of thunder and lightning. We were simply getting a studio, lots of thunder and lightning. We were simply getting a very strong thunderstorm. They have not issued any warning, severe thunderstorm tornado north of the river for Hamilton County right now. But I know it's raining very, very hard and is very, very windy. And we continue to be most concerned about these areas in Kentucky here. I can see Brad zooming in a little bit too. I don't know if we can switch over to take weather too. Probably not with me standing here, so I'll let him explain it. But it looks like now we're tracking that cell very, very close to I-71. Brad, what do you see?
Crossover I-71. This is going to be right near the Florence area. Obviously a very heavily populated portion of our viewing area. That's going to be Florence, right just to the west there of Mall Road. So this takes you right by Florence Mall. And you can see those reds and greens very close to one another. I'm going to put this into a little bit of a loop, and you can kind of see as we go rock this back and forth where that couplet is coming together again pretty well. I've switched over as well to the radar that's really close to the airport. That's what we call a terminal dot, where it has a very limited range, but when things are moving this close to downtown, you have a really good view of it. So what we're showing you here essentially is you're seeing that wind getting pulled into the storm here. On the backside, you also have winds going this direction. So you can see the spin there. It's not like an eye in a hurricane where you're seeing that red dot. That's just wind going away from the radar. The green and the blue is towards the radar. That's what you're seeing is that spin happening right now. Just to the southwest of, let's say, Turfway Park, south of the airport, and right over the heart of Florence. This is going to be crossing over if it's not doing so already. I don't know if you guys can have any traffic cameras down there in the Florence area. Yeah, Turfway Park cam will be a good one, and as well, if you have any traffic cameras that are anywhere near 71 and Hall Road, 71 and 127. Those are areas where this particular area of rotation is going to be headed. I'm going to put a track on this because this is continuing to push almost due east at about 35 to 40 miles per hour. And it's going to take you over to the Taylor Mill area by 12:51. That only gives you 9 minutes to head to your safe spot. You are under the warning now. Earlier when we put the track on this, you were not. In the Reese area, just a little bit before that, that gives you about 6 minutes. Don't forget, I know it can be hard, especially since it's 12:42. We might have woken you up out of bed. The alerts might be going off on your phone. Don't forget to put some shoes on. Just in case, if you head down to your safe spot, you don't, if there's worst case scenario, you end up having any kind of debris as you're working your way out.
Let me get my comment on real
Shoes are a
quick.
good thing to have on if you're heading down that safe spot.
Kind of funny you said something about back rooms. I'm planning on getting the game.
The area that Brad is talking about.
I mentioned.
This is a cell that is literally sitting over Florence, right on top of I-71 and 75 and moving due east. So that's Crestview Hills, that's Dudley Road, that's Richardson Road, Madison Pike, 17, everybody up and down there, Erlinger. You mentioned Taylor Mill, right across
Already got it. It's
275.
pretty good. Sure.
That Fort Wright area, Fort Mitchell, all
I
of
see
this.
some here. What's
Definitely
going on
this
here?
line headed toward Highland Heights. You mentioned Taylor Mill,
Hold on.
and it does stretch down a little bit farther south. Independence, this is all a little bit north of Independence proper, but again, there's enough other activity around that I still think in Independence proper, I would absolutely be heading downstairs.
Up here highlighted are just kind of points of interest in that area. I know everybody's familiar with Florence. In case you're not, I mean, this is where we have UC Health Stadium, Florence Y'all. We have the Florence Y'all Water Tower. That is where the worst of this rotation is just now passing.
I know where that's at. They said the Florence Y'all Water Tower. I've been by there.
So if you're familiar with these areas, that's where the worst of this rotation is just now crossing over. Right around the intersection of 71. The Mall Road area and 127.
This is on the way to Cincinnati.
1829.
So I wonder if we got people watching from up that way.
Down here. There's no confirmation of a tornado at this point. I can hop back over and try to show you the debris detection. You're seeing that when all the colors are basically the same like this, I know you're seeing a lot of kind of different colors, but it's not as well defined as it was just a little bit ago. If I back it up about a half an hour and take you back to when it was in Aurora, I mean, even you can look at it and point out that dot that pops up there just to the southeast of Aurora. It's very obvious, and at this point you see it's lost a lot of that. It hasn't. We're not seeing any real defined
BG, I think it's only
rotation at this
me.
point. But hopping back quickly over to
Bowling Green, Kentucky. They're in the you're in the low risk.
And
They said that anybody along and hold on. They said anybody along 65 and the Western Kentucky and Bluegrass Parkways will be in the severe weather risk in Kentucky
Also, Turkey Foot Road.
for the overnight hours.
It's my neck of the woods. I know this area well. Madison Pike, all those neighborhoods along.
I'm not going to stay on this too long because I got an appointment to be in the morning and I'm going to have to go to bed.
North of Independence, stretching up to Edgewood, taking that off the Dixie Highway, straight across.
So anybody that's watching from up that way or tunes in or gets to tune in later, you guys are going to have to find somebody else to watch because I can't stay on this all night. Have you heard Classic Call of Duty's coming back?
A lot of subdivisions there. Text your neighbors,
No.
You know, it's time to get everybody awake and on the
Also, anybody that's in chat, watch what you say because chat's restricting certain words.
A lot of folks near downtown don't know what's going on. So right now we've got a ton of storm activity. We are tracking the concern of a radar-confirmed tornado down in central Greene County, moving into Kenton and Campbell counties. But there is heavy rain across the entire metro area. That is the only, I believe, active warning at this time. It is going to continue until 1:15. And other than that, we are not under any other severe thunderstorm warning from the switch that we were confirmed. I'm not missing anything popping up. Other than the flooding concerns that we do have over there in the three Dearborn counties. We'll, of course, get back to talking about that.
That one may get lifted. That one actually is lifted. No.
Kentucky. Again, Campbell and Kenton. Campbell
As soon as this last warning's
gone,
gone, I'm getting off.
Campbell and Kenton Eastern happen until 1:15 as that continues to move through the area. Looks like spreading north a little bit, Brad. We're getting Edgewood into some action here now as well.
Yeah, the worst of that rotation is basically just east of 71, 75, and then just south of 275. So again, Erlanger area, Independence, eventually, sandwiched somewhere in between there. Mostly subdivisions and not too many organized towns, I'm going to say, in between those two. But that's the general area we're talking about. I have kind of the big map of what we're dealing with. We have two tornado warnings, both for the same storm. One was just an extension of the other one. The first of which expires here at 12:46. So again, that expires here momentarily, and then 1:15. That's when the storm edge is expected to start to cross the Ohio River back potentially into Claremont County if it maintains intensity. Off to the left of that, we have the flash flood warning, which has a considerable tag with it. That's why you have those yellow stripes running across, because it has been confirmed, and it's not just, a little bit of flooding. It's considerable levels of flash flooding happening out there in Ripley and Dearborn County. I'm going to throw on the past rotation so we can show you where the storm has potentially touched down. You see it's kind of skipping on. This is what we call recycling of a storm. You have a touchdown potentially of a tornado out here in central Indiana. It recycled. It took a whole county basically until it got its act together, and then it potentially started to touch down again or go on more intense rotation. That peak just to the south of Aurora. That's where we had that debris signature showing up on the radar that I showed you just a few minutes ago. That has worked its way now across Boone County and is now working its way up, and you mentioned a little bit of a northern tilt there. Instead of being south of 275, it's right around Crestview Hills. That's where the latest scan came in. Near Crestview Hills, Fort Wright area, just around that 275 interchange. So let me pull up the radar one more time for you real quick, and we'll pull on the terminal Doppler, because that was showing us, again, that very well-defined area of rotation just a few minutes ago. Give me just a second to turn that one back on. And you can see, again, even though the rotation product is showing a little bit farther north, sometimes you have to double check with the radar because it will show a different thing. And that radar that's not far away from this at all, this is getting really good scans very low to the ground. And you're seeing those greens and blues, those are very intense winds. I'll query some of those for you. And you'll see here that those wind speeds are estimated in the blue shaded area about 60 to 80 miles an hour. On the other side, in the red, you have winds going the opposite direction, so it's about an 80 mile per hour gate to gate or so in that area. Not as strong as it was, per se, back in southern Indiana. However, it is still a well-defined couplet, and it's something that needs to be taken very seriously. So they dropped the one warning, as you can see. This is the latest and last warning for the storm that's currently in effect, and it runs for central portions of both Kenton and Campbell counties, including Independence, Lakeside Park, Alexandria, and other portions of central Campbell County. Highland Heights here on the northern fringe of this warning. Again, please seek shelter if you haven't done so already. If you're in that red shaded area, even down as far as California, these are areas where you're going to need to seek shelter as the storm continues to try to skip.
Flip pulled up here just south of Erlinger. This is an area I know pretty well. Turkey Foot Road, definitely headed that way. Dudley over to Madison Pike, which is 17. This is the area that's just south of 275. Over there by the Walmart and areas like that, Chick-fil-A that's over there. So the couplet itself is the one where we believe the rotation is due south of Erlinger, headed toward Turkey Foot Road. So Turkey Foot and 275 needs to take shelter. Anybody over by Madison Pike, fortunately not a ton of housing developments up and down 17 right there, but that is going to push over toward Taylor Mill, and that is certainly an area where there are plenty of concerns. So it is on the far western edge of the warned area right now, which is an indication that this has been holding together for quite a while. We have no reason to believe that it won't continue to move to the east. So that's why Highland Heights, Alexandria, Campbell County is in it. Erlinger, it is just south of the main area. I just got an update on mine, and it moved east. So things should start to quiet down there for Erlinger. It is literally passing over Independence right now. Joe Run Lake is right there. That shopping plaza, if you're familiar with that, that is where we are seeing the cell right now as it continues to move to the east. So again, time to take shelter if you have not done so in Highland Heights, in Taylor Mill, in Alexandria. You need to go to the basement. If you can't go to the basement, you need to go to the interior room, bathrooms, closets. Again, it's going to be very windy. That is correct. Winds over 60, 70 miles per hour related to this storm. And this has been holding together for many, many miles.
Yeah, the good news is I kind of have this looping over here on Max 2, and it might be better if you pull it up full screen too to see this a little bit better. I'll even slow it down just a little bit for you. Back here, when I was pushing through Boone County, there was a well kind of area, defined area of rotation. You can see it there, just southwest of the Erlanger spot there on the map. And you can see the reds away from the radar, which in this case, I'm using a radar that's just down here south of the airport. So reds in this case are pushing north. The blues and the greens are pushing towards the radar here. And you can see that well-defined couplet as it was pushing out of eastern Boone County. The latest scans of this, which come in a little quicker than the other radar as well, that is not nearly as well defined. That's good news. Bad news situation, it's probably doing what it's been doing this whole time. That's what these supercell storms do. They cycle. And it takes about 20, maybe minutes, maybe less sometimes, to run a cycle. And when it recycles, it forms a new couplet and re-intensifies. So that's probably what's going on at this point. Looks like we have a new warning that's just kind of popped on there. Let me put
oh, come on.
That. Yeah, it's just flashing here in the middle. That is going to be probably an extension of time.
115 is what I'm still seeing down here.
115
I
and
am not staying up. Then covering that. I got it.
Yeah, maybe neither. I'm not seeing the difference.
They're overlapping for the same storm. That might have been a mistake sent by the map.
That's okay. It certainly tells us that this continues to hold together and move east. And to Brad's point, Cold Spring, this is very quickly headed your way. Highland Heights, Alexandria, you still have some time. Get everybody up and get to the basement. You know this is a very populated area. If you're familiar with this part of eastern Kenton County, as you're moving to Canton County, or Campbell County, rather. Anderson, we're getting some very, very heavy rains now, even up in the southern Ohio area across the river. But I know a lot of folks are watching this closer to Cincinnati and thinking, how can we not be under this? You are not part of the tornado. The tornado is very isolated. However, everybody is still seeing some very gusty winds and some very, very heavy rains. But the tornado warning itself and what we are worried about is focused down here, actually looking a little quieter in Taylor Mill. So I like to see that. Spring Lake, getting ready to cross 9 there as you go south of Taylor Mill. And looks like headed over toward 27 will be the next eastward progression we see there. 16 Pride Parkway, of course, right there at 275 as well. This is all just south of 275 that we're watching. All right, we're going to zoom back out. I know it's been a while since we've checked on everybody because I want everybody to know we are watching all of these different cells. Ripley County, I know you're getting another downpour and you're already under that flash flood warning. So unfortunately, it is raining heavily again in Ripley County. It is raining heavily again in Franklin County. None of these are being deemed severe storms right now. Up to the north, moderate to light rainfall. Southeast Maysville, you are missing out right now, and that is a good thing. So really the only major concern and imminent danger continues to be this tornado warning, which we're going to talk about for another 20 minutes. We've noticed it weakening slightly, but as Brad has been explaining, all tornado couplets and cells go through regenerative phases. That's what we're seeing with this one. This actual storm cell on the whole has been active for several hours. We've been tracking this all the way across central Indiana. So certainly not surprised to see it continuing, but always concerned. I'm going to zoom back in and look at some couplets. Now, the one of concern is headed toward 915 Hawthorne. Looks like we're a little bit east of Taylor Mill. And that's also of concern, I would think, too, what we're seeing there along, I believe that's 677, but I can't read that number. So Hawthorne, just north of Ryland Heights. Looks like we're east now of Pride Parkway. We are east of Madison Pike, so you should be a little more in the clear, but definitely headed out toward 23, toward 9, Silver Grove, that area as well. And you can see where, I'm going to switch back over to radar, you can see where the red box is outlined. Get you both of those to look at it once. Melbourne, you're seeing a very strong thunderstorm right now. This is the area for the tornado warning. The specific cell we are watching appears to be just north of Taylor Mill. I'll go ahead and switch back so we can get another eye on it. And there's X that we've looked a little. So now right over 9 and still continuing to the east. So a wind gust, radar estimated upwards of 60 miles per hour. The two different colors that we're looking at are indicative of rotation. One goes toward the radar, one goes away, and the rotation is how tornadoes than are predicted when their radar indicates. Obviously, it's dark out there. Do not go outside. You cannot see it anyway, and that is certainly not something we want anybody doing in actually taking shelter. It looks like this is going to skirt just north for the worst of it of Alexandria. Although, did you see that last update? Took a little east-southeast movement as well, Brad. So really that entire area in the red box obviously needs to be concerned. Highland Heights, the worst is now east of you, headed toward Pierce Township. We are getting now into Campbell County there, north of Ohio Township. Alexandria, headed over Fort Mitchell area, definitely impacted here as well. We are just south of 275.
Yeah, last check, this is still in a cycling phase, so we don't have a well-defined area of rotation. The mix-up there, where there were two warning boxes going on at the same time, they had it at a time there, the one tornado warning was a tornado with radar observed, so they're dropping it down to a base level, just radar indicated. I know it doesn't, it's vernacular, but it makes a little bit of a difference. So they're changing the wording of the warning, that's why there were two at the same time. Now we're back to a radar indicated storm, waiting on that storm to recycle, and you can still see where some of that rotation is, right? I'll draw it for you here. You have winds going up, winds
Guys, I'll be back
down near the Taylor Mill area. It's going to be just east of DeCourcy Pike and easternmost corner here, right around the Licking River of Kenton County. They'll be crossing over into Campbell County shortly there, around 9:15, Kentucky 9:15, and over towards 27 as well, on the east, and the west end, rather, of Campbell County. So that's Alexandria Pike. That's where the area of rotation is right now, just to the southeast of Taylor Mill. No confirmed tornadoes in this area, and they have extended now. I'll back this out a little bit. They've extended the tornado warning now into Claremont County, and that will run until 1:45. So that takes us out just under an hour from now, for the expiration time. So that does include Bethel. It includes south central portions of Claremont County, Pierce Township, Ohio Township along the river. It does not include Mount Olive at this time, but again, stay weather aware if you're in these areas, Lindale, Bantam, Saltaire. That is where the storm is eventually going to head over the next 45 minutes or so. So again, new tornado warning just issued there for Claremont County that runs through 1:45. Current time is 1 o'clock. We've reached the top of the hour here. And, the area of rotation itself, again, just clarifying this for everybody, there is no well-defined area of rotation at this time, which is great news. Certainly not as bad as it looked when it was over towards, let's say, the Florence area. Looking through some reports, and the good news is so far, at least from what I've seen, I haven't heard from any emergency managers, but some of the hand radio operators out of the Florence area, again, reporting no confirmed damage, at least from where they were stationed, and they said they had several up and running to try to spot the storm as it worked its way on through around the Florence area. Again, this is a very tough situation because you're not going to be able to see this tornado. One, it's pitch black outside. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. And it's a rain-wrapped tornado more than likely, at least more often than not, especially after it gets going a little bit. So it's very difficult to see anyway, even on the best conditions at night. You need lightning to see it. If you don't have night lightning, you're not going to see this sort of thing. So with that said, no confirmed reports of damage. We had the confirmed report, radar confirmed tornado earlier when it was over towards the Aurora area, northern Ohio County, southeast Indiana. But we haven't had a well-defined couplet or debris signature since. It's not to say you can't have spin-ups that happen between radar scans. But the good news is right now, again, keeping an eye on this as it pushes its way north of Ryland Heights, the Alexandria area, Poplar Ridge Road, and Kentucky 9, which runs down there through portions of Kansas County, is that just seeing we have another flash flood warning that's come out.
Finish what you were saying, and this is a considerable one, as Brad's been explaining, when they have the ashes in there. That means we are aware that there is flash flooding occurring. These rain rates have been incredible. So now Boone, Campbell, portions of Hamilton, Kenton, and Ohio counties are under a flash flood warning. So I've got that pulled up here on top of the two tornado warnings, which of course we continue to keep an eye on, but I'm going to switch over for just a minute so you can see what I'm doing here. So now you're looking at those for Hamilton County, including downtown Cincinnati, portions of Ripley, Dearborn, that sweeps down into Ohio County as well, and the areas that are also still actively under that tornado warning. The rain rates are just crazy, so we definitely are going to have some concerns with standing water and rising creeks, especially down in the Kentucky areas. All right, we of course are still most importantly and most concernedly tracking the active tornado warning that continues to move across Campbell and Kenton counties. I'm going to take off these warnings for just a minute so we can take a look at what's happening across the entire area, because I don't want anybody to feel left out, but we of course have to worry about the safety of Kenton and Campbell counties most importantly. We are still seeing a lot of storm activity across Franklin County, still seeing rounds of rain rolling into Ripley County, which is obviously having the flooding concerns, and right now we are looking at that rain moving off into Claremont County and our far eastern counties as well. But we're going to zoom in because the area of concern continues to be what we're seeing here right along 27 and Alexandria right now, getting ready to move over to 9 and then off into 52 Bush Township. We're seeing some pretty heavy rain as well. So these are definitely all areas that have been seeing this heavy rain. We've got a couple of things layered on top of each other here. Not only are you looking at the tornado warning, but you're part of that flash flood warning as well. I'll take that down so you can see a little bit better with just radar. But the very, very heavy rains are continuing and continuing to move east, southeast. So from Alexandria over to Ohio Township, the latest update actually tipped that a little bit to the north. So we'll have to continue to watch the movement. The movement of the cells on the whole is easterly, but some of these heavy rains moving into Batavia, moving into Anderson. You are not part of the tornado warning, but you are definitely seeing some of the strongest storms that we're seeing. We're going to go ahead and look once again at the coupling, which is when we look at the blues and the greens to see how close they are together. As Brad had mentioned before, things actually have calmed down just a little bit in terms of that, so we can be happy about that. But I know Brad had mentioned he was certainly concerned about things regenerating as they are prone to do. Here is a look at the area that is under the warning, now including Claremont County, of course, too, the southern edge there. And things are definitely looking slightly quieter. I think we are definitely obviously going to continue to watch the cells, and the most reason we're concerned about it, from what we're getting with everybody, is that we're going to see this continue to regenerate. I'm reading the chat here, and they are also about to go with Franklin County, Brad. A new tornado warning coming out for Franklin County. If you want to head over there, and we can see what's going on there. We're reporting power outages near Brookville as well. Power outage will be east of the circulation, and that tornado warning just got issued. Butler, Dearborn, Franklin, portions of Hamilton, and Ripley. So you can see that the Hamilton is the very northern corner, just north of Harrison. That stretches up into Butler County, just hitting up to Oxford. Brookville, you are just in the middle of this right now. And Batesville is on the bottom corner. So the couplets we are looking at, primarily Brookville. I'm going to take a closer look at that one north of Batesville as well. But everything east on 252, even watching north 52 as you head down toward Harrison, St. Leon, and over toward Oxford. This is a brand new tornado warning. Click on it. Let's see how long we've got here. This one is in effect until 1:30. It's moving east at 50 miles per hour. So the good news is it's picking up a little bit of speed, and it is radar indicated rotation. So those areas, I know you've had a lot of storms already tonight, but this one is a radar indicated tornado. So from Batesville up to Brookville, over toward Hamilton and Harrison, you do need to take shelter.
Just a real quick note, we're getting confirmation. I saw it on a scanner app, but we're getting confirmation now from emergency managers here in Cincinnati. Confirmed flash flooding happening right now. There are vehicles stranded and rescues are underway. That goes along with the considerable flash flood warning that's going on downtown right now. I'll pull this up real quick. And we showed you this earlier. When you have this hatching that goes through, let me turn that off. See what's going on. When you see those yellow lines running through, that is different than a base level flash flood warning where they would issue it just in case they saw over an inch or so of rainfall in a quick amount of time. This is confirmed, and not just that, it's confirmed and considerable. We're getting reports on 75, here, mile marker 5.5, some flooding going on. So that's just the north side and northwest side of downtown. Maybe over just a little bit closer, let's say. I'm just trying to guesstimate based on out of my head here, but maybe around the north side area, maybe before you even get there, Camp Washington or so. I'm bad at doing math in my head, trying to figure out where 5 miles up the road is, but you know, it's very close to downtown. There are vehicles stranded, and they are rescuing people from vehicles. So again, please don't be out if you don't have to. Obviously, we have the 2 tornado warnings we've been talking about. I'll zoom out just a little bit so you can see both of those. We have that tornado warning storm crossing now over the Ohio River. This is the one we've been talking about for the last hour and a half or so. I'm sure Stephanie was talking about it earlier than I got here, but that storm just now getting ready to cross over into Ohio, into Claremont County. We have a new tornado warning now up here to the northwest over in Franklin County. That does include the 74 corridor around northern Ripley, northern Dearborn, a little sliver of western Butler County, and the northwestern corner of Hamilton County. That runs through 130. Again, radar indicated, not a confirmed tornado. And I'll turn the velocity on here for you. Give me just a second. We'll hop over to that and show you where that area of rotation might be. Now, this is an interesting spot for us because you have to switch back and forth because how far away it is from the Wilmington radar. Between that and Wilmington, so you see it'll jump colors and be kind of dramatic. So if you see that, there's nothing wrong. I'm just going back and forth between the 2 radar sites because the lines are a lot. But you can see some color difference going on right there just to the west of Brookville proper. And this is going to be just to the southwest of 52, southwest of 101, and due west, basically, of 252 on the west side of Brookville, where that is showing up. So that's St. Mary's Road, north of the Oak Forest area. Again, just a radar indicated tornado, not a confirmed tornado.
Have been dropped. We're still seeing it in Campbell County and the southern portion of Canton County. Claremont County. A couple of different things that I'm looking at over here, Brad. You can see these couplets here. Pierce Township, Blairsville, you're getting the worst of it right now. Pierce Township heading to your way. But we've also got some pretty active weather up here in the Batavia area. So that's going to be something to be considered as that moves through the area, and it is just out of the warned area. But still, a lot still going on in these areas. This is also on the very edge of the flash flood warning, which I also think is probably about to get extended to the east. But
now, near that mile marker 5.5. If you guys could pull that up, that'd be great. So we can see how that is. And yeah, you can see numerous vehicles there, semis, a couple other cars. It looks like we have a few that are turned sideways there, maybe hydroplaned a little bit.
well, that's that construction area too, so you got to assume that things aren't draining like they're normally draining.
Wish I could read the sign, and I don't drive up that way. I have to know exactly where that billboard is off to the left there. But yeah, this looks like it curves around there, since it's probably north of the Camp Washington area and working your way over. Yeah, this is near St. Bernard. So you get 5.5 miles up, takes you up to St. Bernard, that area. So where it wraps around the hill there, west of UC's campus. So we have several stranded vehicles, several that are going around at this point.
Yeah, obviously it goes without saying no one should be out, obviously with the weather the way it is. Tornado warning for Campbell County will be allowed to expire as well. So some good news down there in northern Kentucky. You are about to be out of these warned areas, and it's still continuing, and we confirm this for Claremont County, which makes sense when we're looking at the concerns. I'm still in the couplet mode here. So Ohio Township, Pierce Township, moving over toward Lindale, Hamlet, East Fork State Park is over there. These are areas that are still under this warning, and they were still seeing some potential radar rotation. All right, zooming back out, Brad, I know we've been tracking the Franklin County situation. 2 different things that I see we're looking at there. Not only do we have the tornado warning for Butler, Franklin, and Ripley, but we also have the flooding concerns continuing across Ripley, Dearborn, and then right into Hamilton County, while Brookville's getting a real big storm right now.
Yeah, the area of rotation, again, it's tough to get a handle on because the radar at that point, due to the curvature of the Earth, is so high up in the atmosphere, it's hard to get a look at what's happening down at ground level. The rotation I'm seeing from both the radars is very broad. You can see that the bright, yellows and reds down here, not close particularly to the greens that are over Brookville right now. So that indicates broad rotation, enough to warn it, especially how volatile the atmosphere is. Then you switch over to the Wilmington radar, and again, you're not seeing anything that looks like a well-defined area of rotation. Again, erring on the side of caution. You can see they're putting out tornado warnings here. I'm trying to see what this one is. Again, they're probably going from a radar indicated to potential, maybe. They put up a new one and they're trimming it to just include the west end of Brookville there. And this is probably what they were doing earlier when they were switching from the two different types, radar indicated or radar confirmed or radar indicated. So they've extended the time a little bit too. They bumped it up to 1:30. So they're just extending that time out a little bit. And it does still include portions of westernmost Butler County, northwestern corner of Hamilton County. That's just north of the Harrison area in the 74 corridor. So that does include 74 basically around the state line that runs all the way up through St. Leon. I will say the worst part about that storm is well north of that area, up towards 40252 near Brookville. Not to say you're in the clear, you should definitely still take that seriously, but at least from what I've been seeing here, the worst of the rotation is still in Franklin County proper. It would be heading east. I'll put a track on that for you. And it's going to be heading up, if it does maintain its intensity, into western portions of Butler County. And that would take it eventually over here towards, let's say, the Mount Carmel area, 126, Morgan Township, 135, 140, Lehigh and Hanover over at 145 towards the end of that expiration time. So, again, be safe out there. We have several storms we're still continuing to keep a close eye on. That's just one of our tornado warnings. The other one we were talking about earlier is still indicating, again, broad rotation at this time. You can see the blues towards the radar, the reds here way, and still a broad area of rotation. There's not one well-defined couplet within that. So,
latest there, once it gets, is allowed to expire, I believe it's at a 1:30, and we're not 1:45. All right, they're definitely going to allow it to expire. They have not said they're going to cancel it. But because of what you just said, we're not seeing any area that's under, imminent, defined risk of a tornado right now. But you can definitely see some active storm continuing down in that area. So Batavia, you're actually getting cleared out. It's moving east of you. Mount Dora moving up towards 63, 5 Mile, Globeville, Williamsburg. Those are areas right now up towards Fayetteville, Newcastle, where the worst weather is continuing to move. But for the most part, at least through the northern Kentucky counties, things are better now. We're seeing that move into our southeast Ohio area. Out to Eagle Township, yeah. That's what we're seeing there. I've been reading up on the rescue reports, Brad, too. They've had some trouble with Hyde Park, Edwards Road, stranded vehicles there as well. So that's where we continue to see the flooding concerns. Even though downtown Cincinnati never under a severe thunderstorm warning or tornado warning, a lot of rain from a very short period of time. And obviously with the hills, it simply is overwhelming the storm systems, sewers there. And then keep in mind, Brad was talking about what's happening in the Brookville area. We are still seeing some heavy rains rolling even into Fayette County now as well. And I'll be honest, I haven't looked west in a while. We have not seen a lot of new action there. I think we've got any warnings popping up. Bloomington's had a really long day. Yet, look at that. We are still dealing with storm activity, severe thunderstorms with the possibility of rotation, even as far west as Bloomington. So we may still have another hour or two of this to get through.
I think we have another traffic camera potentially. They might be able to pull off. We put 75. We're still looking at 75, and that's northbound 75 that is having the big issues. It's not to say they're not seeing some flooding in the southbound lanes, but you can see they have the centermost lane. So it might have even been something as simple as a block storm drain in that area. I mean, sometimes that can happen. And you get all that water to pile up, and so it looks like the middle lanes are where we're seeing the biggest issues, because we have cars in the southbound lanes that are going around on the far right-hand lane. Again, radar estimates in that area over 1 to 2 inches within the last hour or so. And if it's clogged storm drain, 1 to 2 inches of rain, it's all going to go somewhere. And if it can't That's where you run into some problems. So they're still doing some water rescues over there. Stephanie had just mentioned some of the other issues in the area. I have one confirmed report of a tree down the 5300 block of South Benham Road. That was over in Versailles, Indiana. That was earlier with the storm when it was still out in southeast Indiana. So a confirmed report of some tree damage there. Ripley County, and then we also have some snapped utility poles now being reported down in Boone County. So that's US 42 and Industrial Road.
Clear, so that fact that we're seeing those snapped poles may be indicators of some of those 60-mile-per-hour winds the radar was picking up.
Yeah, so again, we have that area of rotation. I'll show you the past rotation where the center of that storm kind of went over. It was right through these areas. Right around the Florence area where all that rotation was being picked up. We also had a significant amount of rotation. Briefly, we were showing you that really well on the radar earlier near Independence, Ryland Heights, and then it all kind of just tapered off a little bit. Still showing some potent rotation, it's just very broad at this point. It's not a narrow line. It kind of goes and kind of falls out there at the end. It's not that the storm isn't rotating, it's just not a well-defined cover capable of tornadic activity. We also have rotation, again, south end of Franklin County. We'll hop back out to that because that's still an active tornado warning in that area. This is between, Brookville and St. Leon, essentially. It's still broad rotation based on that radar image and this one as well. I'm going back and forth between the two different radars there. I'll even switch products here to see if I can get a better idea of where that rotation is. And still looking at a different program, too, and it's showing much higher levels of rotation. So we'll query a couple of these. Again, this far out from the radar, you're not going to get a really good idea of what's happening at ground level. But you can still get an idea of how fast these winds are going, and you can see, it's very fast. So it's certainly capable of spinning something up. But again, just not getting a really good idea that far away from the radar dish itself of what's happening at the ground level. So you're going to have to treat this very seriously. With that said, with those kind of winds pushing through anyway, that can do as much damage, even if it's just straight line winds in the Cedar Grove area. It's going to knock out power. It's going to take down some tree limbs. So be safe down there, Cedar Grove. This is also heading over toward the Sharptown area, Brewersburg. And this will eventually, here in the next 20 minutes or so, be crossing that black line that runs almost to the center of the screen there. That is the state line, which runs into Butler County, Ohio, where 126 is in Morgan Township. Then off to the south, where the tornado warning also in effect here, and that's Harrison, Ohio, down in Hamilton County. So that's kind of the four corners between Franklin, Butler, Hamilton County, and Dearborn County in southeast Indiana. So that's where the worst of that storm is headed right now. I'm going to head back over here real quick as well, too. We have some high winds.
Not on this one.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that everybody knew we were still monitoring this for them. I've got the radar zoomed in. An area is still under the tornado warning. That's going to go until 1:45 for Claremont County. Williamsburg over to 5 Mile.
I'm Brown and Highland County.
All right, so this is still that same system there. Adams, Brown, and Highland County. So we'll zoom out to see that. So look at how now it's grown this complete northern edge. Before we were tracking the southern edge. Now it is spreading to the north. So we'll go ahead. Remember, we were talking about this regenerating, and that apparently has been exactly what has happened here. Looking for...
So it's going to go until 2 a.m. That's for Adams, Brown, and Highland counties.
Here we go. All right, so we've zoomed into the boxes and to show you exactly where it is. So let's go ahead and look at the northern edge of Claremont here, because that is the cell. It's got to be the best couplet we're seeing here. That would be north of Bethel and going to move east toward Mount Orab. And then we've got a heading, but that's extended pretty far south, so we must be concerned about other couplets along that line also. So Eagle Township, Georgetown, Mount Orab, anybody along 774, along 68, those are areas that are going to be under this new warning. News Corner, Hamilton, off to Arnheim, Brownstown, 68, even over to 32. You are all part of the latest tornado warning that's going to extend, did you see 2 o'clock now? All the way until 2 a.m. Up there, popping up there. Adams, Brown, Highland, and then Claremont. You were expected to have this go ahead and cancel out once we get to 1:35. But we certainly aren't there yet, and we certainly are still seeing a pretty active cell there. Just getting ready to head into Williamsburg. That's where we're seeing the most likelihood of rotation at this time. I'm going to go ahead and switch products back to the radar too and zoom out, because while Brad was talking, I was reading up on some of the damage feeds that are coming in, and there are buildings reported with water in the lower levels in downtown Cincinnati. So let's take a look and see what's happening downtown right now. Resettle. So things are actually quiet right now. We're getting reports from Oakley and Bond Hill from emergency management from the city of Cincinnati that there's reports of buildings that's flooding in the lower levels. And that's tough, because I know with these storms we're often encouraging people to go to the lower levels, but once we get into a flooding situation, that can obviously be a problem. So unfortunately, both road and building rescues happening in downtown Cincinnati. It's amazing, Brad, how much the eastern edge of that storm system that tracks all the way across northern Kentucky has now grown to the north.
Yeah, it's spreading out quite a bit. Sorry, I was trying to read at the same time. I picked up just like the last little bit of that what you were saying there. But yeah, I mean, between that, I mean, the amount of moisture that we have in the air now too, because we went from being just 2 days ago to being bone dry and perfect outside, and now all of this moisture is coming back. That's how quickly that south wind is active to get us back. So being able to sustain these long track storms that we've been watching since they were in Indiana, now they're pushing back across northern Kentucky and into southwestern southern portions of our viewing area in Ohio. So the Bethel area, that's, at least from what I'm looking at right now, this is using the terminal Doppler again, the kind of short-range Doppler out of the airport. That is the area that I'm watching right now that looks like it has a little bit of a cover, right? It's not well-defined, certainly not like it was earlier when it was over by Florence area, but it's like we were talking about. These storms, they cycle on and off. They might last
go a little bit in it. There we go.
Take
That'll
about
help.
30-minute breather.
Has to see a
And
little
then they'll
better.
get
There
them
we
back
go.
together, and they'll cycle up again and potentially drop into the tornado. So that's the area we're keeping an eye on. Let me switch the radar again for you real quick. And we'll see, we'll take that one off and go back to the one up at the Wilmington. And again, just not a well-defined area of rotation. That said, even if this is straight line wind damage, you start to see some of these brighter colors showing up. They could do as much damage as a tornado in some cases, right? And the tree damage and everything else. So definitely take this seriously if you're in central portions. Again, this is cutting right across the heart of Brown County. It doesn't do Mount Orb, just northern edge there of the Georgetown area. If you're in Georgetown, again, you're not in the clear per se, so take this very seriously as well, and get to a safe spot here for about the next hour or so, if you could.
Flood warning too. Sorry to interrupt you, but I want folks in Franklin County to know that, because that is also where you're dealing with the tornado warning, and you've had numerous heavy rains coming in there. So a flash flood warning for Franklin County. You need to make sure that your lower levels are safe. I know if you are in, if you're in Brookville and you're around St. Leon 126,
Oh my gosh.
shelter in the lower levels, but if you do that, you need to be extra cautious because there is a flash flood warning there. Speaking of flooding, I know we've got a live look outside. We need tornado warning? Oh, it's spread to the east. Okay. Brad, why don't you put a track on that? While you do that, we'll take a live look outside quickly. We're able to get our storm tracker safely out. Let me walk to somewhere where I can take a look at this. Are we able to take that picture? There we go. All right, so this is the situation. Kimberly in the booth, did you tell me that this is on 75 north of Mitchell? Did I hear you correctly? All right, we're waiting for information there. 75 north at Mitchell, and you can see the traffic is at an absolute standstill. Obviously, we're dealing with standing water. It looked like earlier we were dealing with some people that were stuck and spun out and sideways and all the things. So, not that we want you going anywhere, we certainly do not, but we want you to be aware that there has been so much rain. And
As soon as the Kentucky warnings are lifted, I'm going off. I'm going to bed.
Out there. They've got utility trucks that are stopping people from moving. So this is another look at the same area. That's 75 north. That's just north of 74 where it comes in there at Mitchell. So again, if you're listening to us now and you're still going to get up and get to work in the morning, you need to know that there are going to be issues on the roadways. Do not drive into standing water. Turn around. Don't drown. We know with these flash flood warnings that are out that there will be problems. Traffic map showing where those problems are right now as well. and we'll continue to monitor as we go into the overnight hours. All right, that said, the storm that we've been tracking, we still have 2 different storms with active tornado warnings. So, Brad, are you going to back us up and look at what's happening in Hamilton County in the west?
Yep, give me just a second to get off the traffic, get back over here to weather. It'll take a second.
Guys, I'm gonna have to go to bed here in a minute.
Who the traffic wizard was.
Doing a little bit of everything over here.
Absolutely.
So we have, let me take the radar off here for a second. You'll see we have these tornado warnings that are still in place for Franklin County and northern Springtown. And Berkeley County's been dropped, but northern Dearborn County and northern Hamilton County all under this, as well as Butler County. So 2 different warnings going on. The first of which originates in Franklin County, does include the Brookville area still. That runs through 1:30. It's set to expire here in just a few minutes. So that storm is going to be pushing now across the state line into western portions of Butler County. And that warning goes until 2 a.m., so for another half hour or so. And does include the city of Hamilton. So again, that's a big one. I know, again, it's not a
Why is my thing not working?
But it is a storm that has produced rotation in the past. And with that said, so nothing confirmed on this storm. We haven't gotten any reports of damage other than that maybe that one power outage that was reported in the Brookville area originally that spawned this tornado warning. But this is the area of the storm.
God, I wish people would stop texting me when I'm on live.
Right around Cedar Grove.
When you go to that product too.
Yeah, so you can see it just a little bit more here. I'll draw it on there so you can see it at home just a little bit better. But that's the area of rotation we're looking at.
Honest to gosh, if they got something to say, why can't they just comment? Don't freaking message me when I'm covering tornado warnings. Guys, I'm going to say this right now while I'm on live. I'm going to say this right now for the people that's watching. If I'm in the middle of broadcasting severe weather, don't text me. Comment something if you need to comment something. I do not have time to answer messages when I'm looking at tornado warnings. And I'm probably not going to answer any more tonight because I'm fixing to hit the bed.
The Ross area, Ross, Ohio, there at 145, 152 in downtown Hamilton. The area of rotation does make it your way. But that would be the worst part of the storm, where the rotation would be arriving. It's not to say you're not seeing other problems, and with how much heavy rain is coming down, the flash flood warnings, don't be surprised if you have.
My Facebook has went off. My freaking TikTok DMs have went off. And so is my Instagram. People, I'm in the middle of severe weather coverage, fixing to jump off. I cannot answer messages when I'm literally in the middle of severe weather coverage.
So, yeah, a lot of current rotation even showing up with that system. And we're looking at the past rotation there as well. All right, I'm going to switch products and head back to the east, since we got a couple of different things we're keeping an eye on here, and also some very, very heavy rains getting ready to move on to the north side of Cincinnati. Definitely a concern where I know we're already having plenty of both road and building rescues. Mount Orab is seeing some very, very heavy rains right now. That is stretching all the way north up to Needful and over toward New Market. So a very broad area, less of a defined area that we're seeing in our far eastern counties right now. Some lightning, but not nearly as much before. It is some really, really heavy rain. That is probably the most impressive thing that we're seeing with this. I'll go ahead and switch we can take a look at the couplets again as well to see whether or not we can determine where there is any rotation. Definitely looks like just west of Mount Orab is an area that we'll have to keep an eye on. But again, it's looking less organized than it was before. But still, this area of Adams, Brown, and Highland County is under a radar indicated tornado warning until 2 a.m. Mostly because of the storm history. It does appear, I think we'll probably be dropping Brown County out of this without too much longer, or rather Clermont County. Clermont County, I think, set to expire at 1:30. Yeah, that looks like it's pretty close. Oh, that's a 1:45. All right, Clermont County, you're still in it till 1:45. You're obviously still getting a lot of rain and wind, but it does look like the area of most concern has moved over into western Brown County. Definitely about to move through the Mount Orab area. New Hope, you're probably going to see some of those extremely strong winds as well along 68, especially where it crosses 32 off into Lawrystown, Gaff, Sardinia. up 134, Greenbush Road, Greenbush East Road, Sterling, all of these areas very near what appears to be the concerning area of rotation from this cell. So again, you're getting alerts on your phone. You may be hearing sirens going off. I know it's not what you want to hear, but we need to get out of bed and roll ourselves to the basement just to be safe. And this is going to continue to move east and impact areas like Mallorystown, Meadville, maybe even over into Newmarket. Winchester and Arnheim, right now you are definitely on the southern and eastern edge of this, but these storms have been holding together for hours. So I see no reason to believe that we don't still need to be very far concerned east, downtown to the township, as we've mentioned. This is going to be headed your way in the next 20 to 30 minutes. So unfortunately, Brad, because we've been watching these storms for so many hours, they are definitely not losing their fuel.
No, not at all. Down there towards the Hammersville area, Mount Orab, in between, that is where the worst part of the storm is the tornado warning storm is moving through now. Brown County, and will eventually cross over into southern Highland County, western portions of Adams County. That's where we're seeing the worst of the storm. It still has a tornado warning on it. Exhibiting broad rotation, but again, being that far away from the Wilmington radar site, still a little tough, to see, at least what's happening down there at ground level, but still, good amount of broad rotation. Blues pushing up there towards the radar. These reds coming back down away from the radar. So again, the storm is spinning a bit. It's definitely drawing in that warmer, moisture-rich air, and it definitely is still trying to spin. Just nothing in terms of a couplet yet, but it's not to say that can't happen. The storm has a history of rotation, and it's going all the way back in southeast Indiana. So with that said, if you're still in Brown County, let's say towards the Arnhem, Sardinia, Winchester, western portions of, again, Adams County and southwestern corner of Highland County, get to the safe spot. Mallorystown, you're also in the path of this. Eagle Township, I'm just trying to list off a few as I move that around. Again, even if you don't see tornadic damage, straight line wind damage can still do a number. So with that said, New Hope area, that's going to be arriving again right now here at, it is now currently still 134. So that's just now crossing that area, the Gap area 136, Brownstown at 139, and eventually all the way over to Eagle Township at 148. With that particular tornado warning storm, you can see now that's kind of a shape that you don't want to see is where it starts to make this kind of little curvy line here. That means it's trying to spin again, where this air comes down that way and this air gets kind of ingested. So again, that's our area of rotation. That's where the storm is the worst. It's going to be south.
Here's about 3 minutes. I'm wrapping it up.
To the east now of Neal's Corner, right around the New Hope area. Nothing confirmed with this, but again, when you start to see that little bit of a bend, that little bit of a
because I'm going to have to hit the bed.
The front end of the storm. That's where you run into some problems. In the Brownstown area, Arnheim, again, just minutes until the worst part about the storm arrives in your area.
So I just want to say this
So it's going to be crossing 60
to the people that's watching. I know I cover Kentucky, but for anybody that's watching in for anybody that's watching in Kentucky,
you can see how it's trying to hint that
if you know anybody, if you have any family or friends up in these areas in southwestern Ohio, and if they don't know they're in a tornado warning, let them know. I know I don't cover Ohio, but if there is people that's tuning in watching from Ohio, that's watching it from Ohio.
2 o'clock all the way western portion of Adams County. Does not include Peebles or West Union.
Hopefully, if there's anybody watching in these areas of Ohio, take cover. Take heed to the tornado warning because it does lift in about 25 minutes. And I know I won't be on live in 25 minutes because I'm fixing to stop it. But if you guys are watching, you guys are still in the warning. Take cover. If you guys are in the tornado warning up around Hamilton, Ohio, or Mount Orab or Georgetown, Ohio, take cover. Seek shelter. And I will. And I'm gonna get off here in a little bit. In just about a minute, I'm going to get off here because I got to go to bed because I got to get up early in the morning. So if any of you guys are watching in Mount Orab, Ohio, Georgetown, Ohio, Hamilton, Ohio, Cincinnati, Ohio, Even though I don't cover
Be
Ohio,
very, very careful, even for tomorrow
you guys
morning.
be safe.
The rains of those smaller creeks might still have some high
You guys
water.
be safe if y'all get put under any more warnings.
Early on.
I'm going to head off to bed, and I will see you guys in another video.
That we're tracking up in Butler County right now too, and also flash
See,
flood
there's
warnings now
Hamilton
leading
County,
right into that. Butler,
Ohio,
Hamilton
and
County
Morgan
remain under
Township.
tornado warning
There's
until
Butler
2
County,
a.m.
Ohio,
You can
Hamilton
see within
County,
the box,
Ohio,
that is
and
the warned area, and it does
Hamilton
include Hamilton, which
County,
is seeing
Ohio.
some very, very heavy rain. So
Yeah.
we'll switch over to the other product, which is how we can tell what the rotation.
So that
concern
tornado
is.
warning
North
remains in
of
effect
Morgan
for
Township,
Hamilton County,
heading
Ohio, Butler
toward
County, Ohio,
Hamilton.
and
Again,
Fairfield County,
not
Ohio.
overly clear.
No, I'm sorry,
Louisville,
not Fairfield
looks
County,
like,
Ohio,
you
Fairfield
definitely are seeing
City.
some potential
I'm
storms right now angling over toward Hanover. May or may not land north of downtown Hamilton, but still obviously a lot of population in that entire area as it goes up on Washington
But I'm going to go ahead and get off here. You guys be safe. And if I have to do any more weather videos, I'll definitely do it. So you guys have a great night. Be safe.
Of course, is on 27. So this